Hello everyone, welcome to chemistry class. This is the part 3 of the present chapter 3, acid, bases and salt. We have already completed the topics regarding acids and we are now discussing or reviewing the question answers, the in-text exercise related to those topics. Let us begin. The question number 1, A part is, what do you understand by the term acid? So they are asking the definition for acid. Acids are what? They are the compounds which contain hydrogen atoms, and when we are dissolving this any acid in water, they will produce H3O plus, that is hydronium ion is produced. Then second part they are asking, B part question is, name the positive ion formed when acid is dissolved. So the ion they are asking only, that is hydronium ion H3O plus, you can write. The third one that you have to do yourself, draw the structure of this ion. I have not given the structure. I hope you can draw the structure. Already we have studied in the chapter number 2 about the hydronium ion. Next, now question number 2, write the ionization of sulfuric acid showing the formation of hydronium ion. So they are asking the ionization reaction of sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid H2SO4, it is containing 2 hydrogen atom, that means it can produce 2 H plus. As a result, what the reaction will be there, that will be happening in 2 steps. So these both the reactions you have to write. First step, what is happening? H2SO4 breaks down into 2 parts. One is H3O positive, hydronium ion is coming one time, and the remaining part is HSO4. Now this HSO4 only, which is formed in the first step, this HSO4 only reacts again with water, and again one more. First time the hydronium ion was produced. In the second reaction, again one more hydronium ion is produced. So like this, the reaction takes place in 2 different steps. We can say it is a dibasic acid because the basicity is 2 in the case of sulfuric acid. Now question 3, water is never added to acid in order to dilute it. Why? They are asking, if we have to prepare a dilute solution of any acid, we will not put water in acid. On the opposite way, what we have to do, we have to put acid in water. What is the concept is, it is related to the heat generation. What is happening is, if we are adding water in acid, if we take a container and that container is having acid, on that acid if we are adding water, then what will happen? Heat will produce, and that heat will be so high that that acid can splash outside. It can splash outside and it can cause severe burns. It can come to our face, our hands. It can affect our body and it can cause severe burns. So this is not the correct method to prepare a dilute solution. What we have to do generally, that is, we will take water in a container and acid we will add into water. This is the right method. Don't do the opposite way. It will cause severe burn injuries. Next, question number 4, define the term basicity of an acid, and you have to write the basicity of these acids. So basicity is what? It is the number of hydronium ion, the H3O plus ion. How many ions are produced by a particular molecule, by a single molecule of acid. That is called as basicity of an acid. This is our different type. 3 types we have learned: monobasic, dibasic and tribasic. So first one, nitric acid, is HNO3. It produces 1 H plus ion, or we can say H3O plus. That is why its basicity is 1. Sulfuric acid is 2. Phosphoric acid is 3. All we have understood in the chapter discussion already. Question number 5, give 2 examples of oxyacid, hydroacid, tribasic acid and dibasic acid. So all the examples you can just the name you have to mention. So the formulas are written there, you can note down. Next, name the acid anhydride. Acid anhydride of these particular acids. What is anhydride? When the water is removed from a particular acid molecule, then what we are getting is called as acid anhydride. Anhydride term means without water. So if acid is subjected to the removal of water, acid minus water will give us what is called as acid anhydride. So first is sulfurous acid. Sulfurous acid anhydride is SO2. Sulfurous acid is what? It is H2SO3. H2SO3. Out of that we are removing water. So what we will get is, only this SO2 will remain there. You can remove H2 and 1 oxygen from here, that is SO2 will remain. Next is nitric acid. HNO3 gives N2O5, phosphoric acid and carbonic acid. All the anhydrides are written. Next, in B part they have asked, acid present in the following. In these natural products or substances, which acid is produced is naturally present, that you have to write. Not only this, you have to learn a particular table is given in the textbook, that is regarding the organic acid. In the beginning of the chapter you can find on the page number 38. That table you have to learn all the acid name and in which kind of natural product they are present. Then question number 7, what do you understand by the term acetic acid is a monobasic acid? So you have to explain. Generally you have to explain in this. They are asking what is the monobasic acid, that is only what they are asking. So acetic acid is monobasic means what? It means that on ionization in water, means when we put acetic acid in water, it will form ions, and those ions will contain, or they will produce one hydronium ion per molecule. That means one molecule of acetic acid. Acetic acid is CH3COOH, that is vinegar only. So this will produce one molecule of H plus ion, that is H3O hydronium ion. Next, question number 8, give the balanced equation for these reactions. That equations you can note down. Next one, question number 9, what do you understand by the strength of the acid? On which factor does the strength of acid depend? So strength, what is the strength? We have understood the topic or concept of strong acids and weak acids. Related to that only they are asking. Strength is what? It is the extent or the particular degree to which the acid can ionize. How much ionization is possible in a particular acid, that is called as strength. Or we can say how much the molecules of the acid can dissociate or break down. Dissociate means they are breaking down. A particular single molecule of acid is breaking into different ions, positive and negative ions. So up to what extent this dissociation is possible, that is called as strength. This strength is dependent on two factors. The factors also they have asked in the question. So two factors are there. It depends on the degree of ionization, and second is the concentration of hydronium ion, how much the hydronium ions can be produced. So that is strength. Based on the strength only, we classify the acids into strong acids and weak acids. Question number 10, A part, carbonic acid gives acid salt but the HCl does not give any acid salt. We have to explain this. So this only is related to the basicity. See, carbonic acid is H2CO3 and it is having the basicity 2. It can produce 2H plus ion on dissolving in water. That is why it is a dibasic salt. On the other side, HCl, it can produce only 1 H plus ion. When it is dissolved in water, it is a monobasic salt. So that is why it is having an acid salt. Carbonic acid is forming a acid salt and one normal salt. It is a dibasic salt, so the reaction will proceed in two steps. H2CO3, when it is dissolved in water, what we will get? First we will get HCO3 minus and H3O plus. This H2CO3, just a minute, this the H2CO3 will dissociate into two parts. One is the positive ion, this is the positive ion, it is forming, one time it has formed. But second thing, this HCO3, again it will dissociate in the water, and again it will form what? It will form another H3O plus ion. So that is what is called as acid salt and normal salt are produced in this. On the other side, HCl will dissociate only one time. HCl dissolve in water. What we are getting is called as H3O positive, and the other one is the negative radical. What is the negative radical is? That is chloride, that is Cl only. Next, now question number B part they have asked here. Dilute HCl is stronger than the highly concentrated acetic acid. So what they have asked in this question is HCl is and acetic acid. If we compare both of these acids, then acetic acid is a strong acid, acetic acid is weak acid. Why is it so? The reason they are asking. So the reason is related to the concentration of hydronium ion. The answer is HCl, it is producing a high concentration of hydronium ion as compared to acetic acid. That is why HCl is a stronger acid if we compare it to acetic acid. Next, now the C part question you will see, that is H3PO3 is not a tribasic acid. This in the class already itself earlier we have discussed that H3PO3 here they have asked, it is not tribasic acid. Generally what is happening is we confuse the basicity with the number of hydrogen atom. Here we can see there hydrogen are 3 in number, and we will say because 3 hydrogen are there, the basicity will be 3. It is a tribasic acid, but it is wrong. It is not calculated or counted on the basis of number of hydrogen atom. What is done is it is based on the structure you see here. In this structure you can see hydrogen atoms, two hydrogen atoms are attached to the oxygen atom and one hydrogen atom. This one is attached to the phosphorus atom. Basicity is dependent on the number of hydrogen atom which are attached to oxygen. So how many are there which are attached to oxygen? Here is 2 only. That means 2 hydrogen atom will only contribute to the basicity. That is only 2 H plus ion will produce, which will form 2 H3O positive ions. That is why we can say only 2 hydrogen ions are produced, and thus the basicity of H3PO3 is dibasic in nature. Next, now question number D, that is given here. Lead carbonate does not react with dilute HCl. Now carbonates, the reaction of carbonates we have seen in the properties. When the metal carbonate, any carbonate is reacting with acid, general equation I will write: carbonate react with acid. What we are getting? Carbonate plus acid, it will produce salt and it will produce water, and third thing that will produce is carbon dioxide. This is the general reaction. Carbonate plus acid gives salt, water plus CO2. But there is a condition in this reaction. This reaction will proceed only if this salt is soluble. Soluble where? If it is soluble in the acid, in the solution where this reaction is going on. In the case of lead carbonate, the question they was lead carbonate is not reacting, or the reaction is not proceeding. So the reason why it is not proceeding is because the salt that is produced is insoluble in the solution, and therefore the reaction will stop, and therefore HCl and lead carbonate, PbCO3 is lead carbonate, it will not react further with HCl because the salt is insoluble, that is forming there is insoluble in the solution. Then the E part question here, let us have a look. Here the question is nitrogen dioxide is a double acid anhydride. What is a double acid anhydride? It is also called mixed anhydride, mixed acid anhydride. It is, the reason is given here. Here it is. So nitrogen dioxide is a double acid anhydride because when we dissolve this in water, we are getting two acids. A mixture of acids are forming. Two different acid, HNO2 that is nitrous acid, HNO3 that is nitric acid, because nitrogen dioxide on dissolving in water, it is producing a mixture of acids. That is why it is called a double acid anhydride, or we can also call it a mixed anhydride, mixed acid anhydride. So that is the answer of this question. Now we will move to the next question, number 11. How the acid is prepared from a non-metal and a salt. So preparation of acid they have asked. First they have asked how we can prepare the acid from a non-metal. So from a non-metal, how we can prepare? It is done by the oxidation. Oxidation is done of a non-metal by using nitric acid. Nitric acid, HNO3, it is a very strong oxidizing agent, and we will take any non-metal. Let me write the general equation, that is non-metal plus HNO3, that is the oxidizing agent. It will provide oxygen to the non-metal for the reaction to take place. So non-metal plus nitric acid, that is the acid here. What the reaction will produce? The product side. Now let me write the products. It will produce one acid, then one more thing, that is water, and another thing, that is a oxide will produce. As the non-metal react with acid, that is nitric acid, we will get a new acid that we are trying to form. That is the purpose of the reaction. Along with this, water and oxide are formed. What is the oxide here? The oxide that is produced here is NO2. Nitrogen dioxide is produced in all these reactions because we are using nitric acid. That is why. Now let us have a look at the example given here. Here it is, like here, the non-metal we have taken, non-metal react with nitric acid. What we will get? We will get the product, that is the acid we are getting, water we are getting, and this is the oxide. Nitrogen dioxide is the oxide of nitrogen. Next, one more example is given, that is phosphorus react with nitric acid. We can see the full equation: PO4, phosphorus acid, phosphoric acid plus water plus nitrogen dioxide. Next, now B part question, we will see what there was. Preparation of acid by using what? By using salt. Now we have to prepare acid using a salt, and equation also we have to tell. Here in the case of the salt, what is the general equation? Salt reacts with any salt we can take plus non-volatile acid. We can take a non-volatile acid, or also we can take less volatile acid. What the product will be? The product will be, we will get another salt, a new salt will form, and we will get a volatile acid. The general equations you have to learn. The salt plus non-volatile, or we can say less volatile acid, react to produce salt plus volatile acid. So what is actually happening in this reaction? From a non-volatile acid we are getting a volatile acid. What is volatile? The acid which can evaporate on its own or which can evaporate on heating at low temperatures. Generally they evaporate at room temperature only. So here the equation you can see, nitric acid can be prepared by using H2SO4 and NaCl, that is a salt. So salt is NaCl, we are using a non-volatile acid. Sulfuric acid, this is a non-volatile acid. This is the only non-volatile acid that you have to learn, that is regarding our syllabus. I am telling it is many are there non-volatile, but in our syllabus only this one is essential. So what is produced is another salt is prepared, NaHSO4 and HNO3 is the acid that we are getting, that is the product. Question number 12, give an equation to show how the following are made from their corresponding anhydrides. So anhydrides can produce water. How they can produce water? By mixing or combining with water. Anhydrides are also called acidic oxides. So I'll write acidic oxides, that is anhydride only, acidic oxide, it will combine with water, and what we will get? We will get a new acid. That will depend on what kind of acidic oxide we have taken. Acidic oxide plus water gives acid. Let us have an understanding of this. First is, in the first part there was sulfurous acid. So sulfurous acid will form from sulfur dioxide. This is the acidic oxide or acid anhydride. It combines with water, we will get this. Similarly, all are this similar reactions. You can note down the answers. Question number 13, name the acid to preserve, to flavor and preserve food in a drink, to removing spot and as an eye wash. All these acids names are written there. These are the different uses of different acids. A table has been mentioned in the book. In the book it is given on page 42. You have to learn that table. That is number 3.2.4. Table number 3.2.4 in page number 42. The table you have to learn of different acids and their uses. Question number 14, give the reaction of acids with chlorides and nitrates, and you have to tell the conditions when these reactions are taking place. So this was the last the chemical property that we had discussed in this and in regarding the acids. So first there was the reaction of acid with chloride. So chloride will react with the acid, and what we will get is, we will get a salt and we will get acid, that is HCl will produce. Because chloride we have taken, so we will get an acid containing chloride only. In case we are using a nitrate salt, nitrate is NO3. Here at NO3 you can see here in KNO3, that is nitrate, potassium nitrate. So because we are using nitrate, we will also get the acid that is containing nitrate, that is HNO3 nitric acid. Both the reactions are regarding chlorides as well as nitrate. Now we will learn the topics regarding bases. So the question arises, first of all, what is a base? For understanding that, we will now have a look at the neutralization reaction. Already we have discussed in the chemical properties of acid. Let us have a look again. Bases react with acid, and what they are giving is salt plus water. This is a very common reaction in chemistry. Base plus acid or acid plus base gives salt and water. From this here, you can note down here, in the cases of bases, two type of compounds or molecules can be participating here. Two types of compounds are there. It can be a oxide or it can be a hydroxide, a metal oxide. That is, like here in this example you can see CuO, that is copper is a metal. Copper is a metal and O is combined, that is oxygen is combined with it, that is a metal oxide. Or second equation you can see NaOH. Na, sodium is the metal, that is the metal, and OH means hydroxide. So it can be metal oxide or it can be a metal hydroxide in the cases of bases. So bases can be metal oxide, bases can be metal hydroxide, but that does not make the definition complete. All metal oxide or metal hydroxide cannot be bases. Then what is the correct definition? Only those basic oxide and hydroxide are called bases, which react with acid to produce salt and water only. Yes, the term only is very important. How is it so? Let us have a look at the definition exactly what is given in the book. Here it is. The definition of base says a base is either a metal oxide or a metal hydroxide which reacts with hydronium ions of the acid, or we can say which react with acid to form salt and water only. So why we are putting this emphasis on only? Before that, we'll have a look at the examples given here. This is a metal oxide, copper oxide. It reacts with acid, HCl, and what we are getting? First we separate water outside, H2O, that is hydrogen and oxygen are removed. What is left is CuCl2, that is the salt of copper. Next you can see there, that is magnesium hydroxide. This is a hydroxide. So here it will react with acid. What we will get is salt plus water. Remaining also you can see, apart from the metal oxide and the metal hydroxide, one more thing you have to take in concern with regarding to bases, that it can be ammonium hydroxide also. Ammonium hydroxide also react with an acid to form salt and water only. Now why I am putting this emphasis on only? Let us have an understanding. There are certain examples, like here it is an example is given here, lead oxide. Here it is written lead 4 oxide, that is the valency of lead is actually of two types. It can be +2 as well as it can be +4 also it can go. So variable valencies are there. In this case of here lead 4 oxide, that is lead is having valency of +4 and it combines with oxygen anion, that is O2 minus. So like this the compound that is forming is PbO2. Here you can see PbO2. So PbO2 reacts with an acid, that is HCl, and what we are getting, we will get a salt, that is PbCl2. We will get water also. Acid plus base gives salt and water. But apart from this, in this reaction we are getting chlorine gas. Yes, because this chlorine is forming here. Because this chlorine is forming here, one extra thing or extra product has been formed. That is why this particular oxide of metal, or this particular metal oxide, will not be called as a base. It will not be called as base. Why is it so? Because in the reaction we can see here, apart from the salt should be there. Yes, that is correct. Water should be produced, that is also correct, but nothing else should be there because one extra product is forming. That is why this oxide will not be called as a basic substance. We can take one more example to understand this concept. For example, other than lead oxide, we can have MnO2, that is manganese oxide. It also is a metal oxide. Manganese is a metal and its oxide MnO2. It also reacts with HCl, and what we are getting as the product is, we will get manganese chloride, MnCl2 will form. We will get water also, that is salt is forming. One salt is there, water is there, but along with this chlorine gas is also formed, and that should not have been formed because chlorine also is formed. That is why the manganese oxide is not a base. So I hope you have understood the definition now of the base. It should be a metal oxide, or it can be a metal hydroxide or ammonium hydroxide, any of these three. And what the reaction will produce? Reaction with acid will produce salt and water only. Nothing else should be produced. If other things are producing along with salt and water, then it is not a base. Let us now understand the topic of basic oxide. What is a basic oxide? It is a type of metallic oxide. Many metallic oxides can be there, but all metal oxides are not basic oxide. Only those metallic oxides which react with acid to produce salt and water only. So why the only is coming, I have already told you. So that metallic oxide which will produce salt and water on reacting with acid only, they will be called as basic oxide. Now what this basic oxide is doing with acid, it is providing O2 minus ion is provided. In the example here, yes, here the example is given of this one. First equation you will see CuO plus 2HCl. In this, if we break this compound into two parts, we will understand this copper oxide. So copper is Cu2 plus, oxide is O2 minus. Like this it is broken into two parts, and it is reacting with what? It is reacting with HCl. So HCl also is broken into two parts. One part is H positive, another part is another part is chloride, negative radical. So here now what the reaction is happening? The copper part combines with chlorine, the chloride one, that will form CuCl2, that is salt will form, and the H plus and O2 minus will combine together and we will get water. This is how the reaction proceeds in case of basic oxides. Now we will have a look on the basic hydroxides. Basic hydroxide, what it is? The definition will read, it is the metal hydroxide. Hydroxide is OH minus, so it will provide OH minus ion for the reaction with acid. Acid provide H plus, the basic hydroxide provide OH minus, and this both H plus and OH minus, what they will give? They will produce H2O, that is water will produce. But the reaction should not produce anything extra. That you take note, salt and water is produced in this reaction only, and if anything else is there, then basic oxide, then that metal hydroxide is not a basic hydroxide. Metal hydroxide can be many in number, but only those metal hydroxide will be called basic, which will produce acid, which will react with acid to produce salt and water only. Example is given here now, NaOH and AlOH3, aluminium hydroxide. They are examples of basic hydroxide. Here the equation you can see, NaOH, Na is positive part, OH is negative part. It reacts with what? It reacts with hydrogen ion and chloride ion of HCl. Here H and OH, they both will combine and we will get water, and Na and Cl radicals will form NaCl, that is the salt. So like this the reaction proceeds. Base plus acid gives salt plus water. So I hope the concept is clear regarding the bases. Now there are certain categories of bases which are water soluble, and there are another kind of bases which are water insoluble. Two forms we can say bases can be classified into two parts. One is water soluble, another one are called water insoluble. Now the question arises, which ones are soluble in water and which ones are insoluble in water? The one which are soluble in water are called as alkalis. They are called alkalis. The alkali is the base soluble in water. And what are the examples, how we can learn them? This is a very simple thing. All those metal oxides or hydroxides which are formed as a result of sodium, potassium and calcium. Only the oxide and hydroxide of sodium, oxide and hydroxide of potassium, and the hydroxide of calcium. All these are the example of alkalis. How we can see? I'll write this for you for a reference. Sodium oxide, Na2O, potassium oxide, K2O. This is the oxide of sodium and potassium. Similarly, NaOH, hydroxide of sodium, and KOH, that is the hydroxide of potassium. Apart from this, what? That is calcium hydroxide. All these are what? All these are the metal oxide and hydroxides which are soluble in water, and these are the ones which are called as what? They are called as alkalis or alkalis. Apart from the sodium, potassium and calcium hydroxide, one more you have to remember, this is ammonium hydroxide. This one is also a part of the water soluble bases, that is alkalis. So only these names you have to remember, they are the alkalis. Let us have a look at the definition that is given. Here it is. An alkali is what? It is a basic hydroxide which is dissolving in water and produces OH minus ion. So what we understand just now, we have seen in the definition or the explanation of basic hydroxide, what they are providing? They are providing OH minus for the reaction or the neutralization reaction to proceed. But all the bases will not provide OH minus. There are many which are water insoluble. Here the examples are given. For example, ferric hydroxide, FeO3 minus. This is an example. This is a metal. Fe, iron is a metal, and its hydroxide FeOH3. So this is an example of water insoluble base. This will not dissolve in water. OH minus will not be provided in this case. Anyone you can take. For example, copper oxide, copper hydroxide, copper oxide CuO, or you can take magnesium oxide. Anyone you can take MgO. So any of the metal oxide or hydroxide other than those of sodium, potassium and calcium. Only three metals, sodium, potassium and calcium, only their oxide and hydroxides are included in this case. I hope it is clear to you about the water soluble and the water insoluble bases. On this understanding, we can have this concept, that is all alkalis are bases. All the alkalis are bases. Here you can see all these are alkalis and all of them are bases. So This statement is true. All alkalis are bases. Yes, it is true. But are all the bases alkalis? See here we have this. This is a base. FeOH3 is a base, but it is not an alkali. Similarly, copper hydroxide CuOH2, it is a base, but it is not an alkali. So on this assumption we can say all the bases are not alkali. Don't confuse in this term. All alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. Now we will do the classification of the bases like we have done in the cases of the acids. Let us have the classification now. Here we have the classification of bases or alkalis. So first is on the basis of the strength, that is we can classify the bases into strong and weak, strong alkali or weak alkali. So strong ones are what? Which one can completely dissociate, which can produce a high concentration of OH negative ions. In the acid also we have seen strong acid are what? Strong acid are the ones which completely ionize, who the compound fully breaks down into individual ions, positive and negative radical, and it can produce a more quantity of H plus ions. Similarly, in this case, it will produce a more quantity or a high concentration of the negative radical, that is OH minus is produced, and there is complete dissociation or complete ionization of the compound. Let us have a look at the examples now. Here it is. Examples are given over here. First is sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. These are the strong alkalis because they completely dissociate or completely break down into individual ions when they are dissolved in water. Next one is a weak alkali, that is here partial ionization is happening. Completely it will not produce the it will not give a good yield or good concentration of the negative radicals. Here you can see the low concentration of OH minus ions is produced here. The example of this are ammonium hydroxide and calcium hydroxide. This we have seen in the topic of alkali. Alkali or what? Which can dissolve in water soluble, the bases which are soluble in water. But this one, calcium hydroxide, is soluble, but it is partially soluble. This you have to remember. It is partially soluble in water, so that you have to remember. Because it is partially soluble in water, complete ionization will not take place. As a result, it is a weak alkali. So this is what we have seen, the strong bases or the strong alkali and the weak bases or weak alkali. Apart from this, there is one more method of classification of the bases, that is done on the basis of acidity. This concept also similar to what we have seen in the acids. Acids are classified on the basis of basicity: monobasic, dibasic, tribasic. Similarly, here we will see the classification on the basis of acidity. Now, what is this acidity of base? That let us have the look on the definition. It is the number of hydroxyl ions, that is OH minus ions, that are produced by one molecule of the base. We have a single molecule of a base, and how many OH minus ions will be produced by that base, that will decide the acidity of that base. Acidity can be of three types here, just like the acids. Here we can name them: monoacidic, diacidic and triacidic base. First one, monoacidic, as the name is suggesting, the base which will dissociate, which will break down, and it will give us what? It will give us one OH ion per molecule. Means here you can see the example, one molecule of NaOH, only one molecule, you have to remember, only one molecule of NaOH will give us what? It will give us one OH negative ion. So if one molecule of base gives one OH minus ion, that is monoacidic base. Similarly, other examples you can learn: KOH and NH4OH. They are also monoacidic. Next is diacidic. Here also, just the name you can remember, di means two. So here one molecule of base will produce two OH minus ions. Examples are calcium hydroxide and copper hydroxide. Now calcium hydroxide is water soluble, it can dissolve in water, but copper hydroxide is not water soluble. So how it will produce the OH minus ion? There we will not use this definition. There what we will say, here it is given for the water insoluble hydroxide, this acidity is calculated on the basis of number of replaceable OH minus ion, how many hydroxyl ions can be replaced. So here you can see in copper hydroxide CuOH2, this we can have this 2 OH ions are there. How many negative radicals are present here? That is 2 in number. That means 2 negative radicals can be replaced here. That is what is given, number of replaceable hydroxyl ions. That is what we have to see, because two negative radicals can be removed here. That is why the acidity will become 2 in this case, and copper hydroxide is called as a diacidic base. Similarly, in the case of triacidic, here 3 OH minus ions are produced. Here the example is, here it is, example is given. First one is aluminium hydroxide, second one is iron hydroxide. Now these are also water insoluble, so in simple words what we can say, they are containing 3 replaceable hydroxyl ions per molecule. For more understanding, FeOH3, one molecule of this, here you can see 3 ions are there of OH negative radical. That is what we can say, these 3 can be removed, 3 negative radicals can be removed. That is why its acidity is coming to be 3, or it is a triacidic base. I hope it is clear to you all the classification we have done. Today we have learned about the bases and its classification. The next topic, the preparation and the properties, we will be covering in the upcoming video. Here we will take a pause for this chapter.